So just in case I don't make one long video, what is going on everyone, is Q here today. It's been a while since I made a long YouTube video, so last time I made a full-on YouTube video was 3 months ago when I did the recap of the triples phase of the 12-week cycle. I recorded just now weeks 5 through 8 and weeks 9 through 12 of the doubles block, and then the singles block of the 12-week phase, recapping how that went. So I'm going to recap how all the meet prep went and the meet itself on August 13th. It is August 15th as I'm recording this, so I'm trying to catch up on this whole time that I have not made videos, and bear with me. So coming off of the 12-week phase was after BAB Open, so right into BAB Open it was just a small deload of an RP5 week. So like I said, I'm training Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, rest Friday, Saturday. We bench all 5 times. We squat on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and then we deadlift on Wednesday and Thursday. So after the RP10, I was still set on pulling conventional just because my conventional will always be consistent. Sumo was just becoming way too inconsistent, especially in the singles block. I was pulling sumo singles all the 12 weeks, but the singles block, my sumo just went to So we were pulling conventional. So on our primary deadlift day, the deload, we just did 227.5 kilos or 501 pounds for a single, moved very well. And then just did 3 reds for my set of 6 just because it was just 2 sets of 6, and for conventional we don't do anything heavy over 5. And then on Saturday, like I said, I'm only recapping my primary days, which is Wednesday and Saturday. For our deload, just hit 3 reds for squat, and then our deload bench, we just hit 110 kilos or 242 pounds. Alright, so this is where meet prep officially starts. So our primary deadlift day, we're pulling conventional. I go to Iron Office again just because I ended up getting a membership there, so I have a membership at both Iron Office and Legion. Because some days I like going to Iron, some days I just want to go to Legion just because it's a lot closer to my house, but Iron, we just have so many toys to play over there, so it's fun hitting a bunch of machines. So for our single, we had an RP6. I loaded up 235 kilos or 518 pounds. It moved very well. The lockout was a little slow and it looked a little bit soft. Our back downs, we had 200 kilos or 440 pounds for our first set of 4, but then after this session, my lower back felt really weird, to the point where it felt like it was when I first injured it back in October 2022, and you guys know that injury took me out for a long time and it hindered my strength for a very long time. And even today, even after the meet as I'm recording this, squat just could not get back to form, which sucked. So I had to talk with Lucas about this, and I was like, dude, I really want to pull conventional this meet, but let's have our long talk that we didn't get to have after the Saturday session because he was handling a bunch of people at BAB Open and I was busy commentating the whole meet. And we had our long conversation about it. We're like, sumo has a lot more room to grow. Conventional has probably reached its wall because my back injury, first of all, and it's just so much harder to push the conventional, even though it's a lot more consistent just because it's brain dead tech. So on our Saturday session, I hit 185 kilos or 480 pounds for my squat single, 110 kilos for my bench single, and then deads, we were like, let's try out sumo just because we're gonna talk long-term health here instead of just wanting to pull conventional just for this meet as one last conventional send-off. So we were just doing T2K deads, and I did 200 kilos or 440 pounds. I was trying to fix up tech to try and fix up the lockout, but yeah. And now going on to our primary, it's our first day going back to sumo full time now. So this is where I did some changes where my foot placement to the plates, the space I am, the distance I am from the bar with my shins, and then my grip placement with my mixed grip. So we had an RP7, and then I attempted 235 kilos or 518 pounds sumo. I moved it at like an RP5, so I had to retake last week's conventional headed sumo. And then I did 210 kilos or 463 pounds for my 4 sets of 4. So this was the start of a lot of volume PRs for me. So this whole prep I didn't hit that many, actually no, this prep I did not hit any all-time PRs. And I was just hitting a shit ton of volume PRs, which was a good sign. So that was our Wednesday session. And then on our SBD Saturday at this point, this was after the Legion meet. I was hanging out at the Legion's first USAPL meet all day, so I was just training alone this day. So I hit 190 kilos or 419 pounds for my squat single at 7. This was a very good sign because it moved really fast, and I found out that when I have 10 to 12,000 steps in me, my squat feels really good. So it moved very fast. which was a good sign. I hit 160 kilos or 353 pounds for my set of 5. I almost died re-racking it. If I still have the clip, I'll put it in this video. Did 112.5 kilos or 248 pounds for my bench single. Did 92.5 kilos or 203 pounds for my sets of 6. And then on my tempo to knee deads, I PR'd and hit 210 kilos or 463 pounds for my first set of 4. Then did 200 for my other 2 sets. Moving on to 7 weeks out, which was week 4 of this block actually. On our primary dead day, I did 250 kilos or 551 pounds. This is when I knew my sumo was really locking in because I moved 250 very fucking fast. Wasn't exactly an RP7, it was more on the 7.5 to maybe 8 side, but the bar speed can argue with that. So that was really good. And the 240 last warm-up before that was even faster, obviously, but it was just stupid fast for my standards. So this is when I knew sumo was starting to feel really good and my tech was starting to feel really great. For our 4x4, I did 220 kilos or 485 pounds for my first 2 sets, and then 210 for my last 2 sets. Going on to the primary day, once again ran back and hit 190 kilos or 419 pounds just because this day was super hot. It was the first day in Fresno with a big heat wave, so it was about 106 to 107 degrees outside, and inside Legion it was about 102. It was literally like training in an oven, so we were super sweaty, losing a shit ton of water even with the amount of water I was drinking. And then I did 170 kilos or 375 pounds for my set of 5. That was good because I hadn't hit that in over a year at that point, because the last time I did that was for BAB sideshow prep. Bench, I hit 120 kilos again or 265 pounds. Wasn't the greatest pause, but it moved very well considering that, so that was good. Hit 95 kilos or 209 pounds for my sets of 6. That was also a very good sign. And then T2K just did 200 kilos just because I was so gassed from the session. Moving on to 6 weeks out, or week 5 of this block, our primary day, we hit 252.5 kilos or 556 pounds. So this is just another baby chip over last week just because we weren't sure what I wanted to hit, because I was just trying to be really true to RP this prep and not try to hit numbers that I envisioned or wanted to, like I did for my sideshow prep, which ultimately cost me. So, and then for 4x4, I also PR'd and hit 220 kilos or 485 pounds for all 4 of my sets of 4. So that was a big volume PR for me, which was a good sign. Move on to SBT Saturday. Hit 200 kilos or 440 pounds for my RP 7-8, and then hit 170 kilos for my set of 5 again. Hit 120 or 265 on bench again, so that was cool. Pause was still a little bit iffy just because it's still a big mental block for me to hit that weight because I was chasing the number for so long. Hit 90 kilos for my sets of 6, and then for tempo to knee, I PR'd and hit 210 kilos or 463 pounds for all 5 of my sets of 3 for tempo deadlifts. So that was another good PR for me. So that was the end to block number 18, which was the start of the meet prep. And now we're moving on to the final stretch of prep. So we are here at 5 weeks out. On our primary day, I hit 240 kilos or 540 pounds at my RP 6.5 single. So this was a small little pullback for prep because this was a new block going into the meet. And then I also PR'd and hit 220 kilos or 485 pounds for all 4 of my sets of 5, so 20 total reps of 220 kilos, which is really good. Felt really good too because all my sets were pretty much on the exact RPE dot, which I was aiming for, which was a very good sign too. So hitting all these volume PRs ended up paying off in the long run. And then on our SBT Saturday, for our single again, hit 190 kilos or 419 pounds. I was dealing with some glute pain, like it was kind of around the point where your glute attaches to your tailbone because my increased squat volume and then all the shit ton of deadlift volume PRs I was hitting, especially now that I'm pulling sumo, were kind of starting to get a little taxing, so minor glute pain, so I couldn't do my back offs that day, but the 419 moved very well. For our bench single at 7, hit 115 kilos, 254 pounds, moved very well. And then for my 4x6 on bench, I just did 85 kilos for all my sets there. And then for just our secondary day, just had competition deadlift instead of tempos. So I hit 220 kilos for all 4 of my sets of 4, so moving 220 as my baseline strength, which is very good for my rep work. And then now moving on to 4 weeks out, we had an RP 7 deadlift single, so we ended up hitting 255 kilos or 563 pounds. So it wasn't the cleanest, because it was still very clean lockout, but my hips shot a little bit off the floor because I just couldn't activate my legs as much as I wanted to. But it moved very fast, so I was still satisfied with that. And then we had a 4x4. I did 227.5 kilos or 501 pounds for my first set of 4, and then 220 for my last, all of my remaining sets. So at this point, sumo is feeling great. It's feeling the best it's ever had. My tech feels comfortable. Tech is comparable looking to Chance Mitchell just because my body anatomy is very similar to Chance. So that's who I always look at when I'm just like looking for deadlift videos. And then for our squat single at 7 on our Saturday, I hit 190 or 419 again, usual stuff. For my 4x4, I hit 170, 170, 160, 160 kilos for those sets. Those moved well. Bench single hit 115 again, and then hit 95 and then 90 kilos for my remaining 3 sets. And then for our deadlift 4x3 RP 6 to 7, I did 227.5 kilos for all 4 of my sets of 3, so that was also another big volume PR for me. This is also driving up to BAB because no one was going to be there at Legion that day, and it was Axis Day, so I wanted to travel up to BAB one time before the meet to see all my friends again and just have a good lifting session at my favorite gym in California. So that was a good session overall at BAB, and now we're dialing in. We are 3 weeks out. We have RP8s and then RP9s the following week. So for our RP8 weeks on deads, hit 260 kilos or 573 pounds, and it moved very fast. My grip started to slip at the top a little bit, which is no big deal for me just because I know what happened. I had a little bit of baby powder on my hand, so that's just a quick, easy fix. And then on our RP8 back downs, we had a 3x3, so I PR'd and hit 235 kilos for my first set of 3. This was an all-time PR. Because for sumo, my best triple was 230 kilos, and for conventional, my best triple was 232.5 kilos before I got injured. So moving 235 at a true RP7 was a very good sign. So I dropped down 5 kilos and just did 230 for my second and third sets. So that's also a volume PR, just hitting over 230 kilo for multiple working volume sets. So that's great. Moving on to our Saturday session, ended up moving 200 kilos or 441 pounds, so it moved very fast. This was also Jericho's last big heavy day at Legion before he goes off to do his PT school in San Diego, so we were doing a mock meet for him, and it was my RP8 day, so me and him were working on the same rack, treating it like it was a meet. So it was a very good session overall. It was the first time we had everybody from Legion there that day, so we had the original crew and then all the new guys that we have at Legion, all there supporting one another, mainly me and Jericho, but just the support was just great just to have the big crew at Legion again. Then I did 170 kilos for all 3 of my sets of 4, so that was a good sign. Also moved 120 kilos or 265 pounds for my single at 8 on bench, and I finally paused it this time for a good true pause, so that was a good sign. And then we had a 4x4 on bench at a RP 7-8, so I did 105 kilos for my first top set, so that moved very well, and then 100 for my last second, third, and fourth set. And then deads, we had a 3x3. I also ended up PRing and hitting ascending sets on deadlifts, which I don't normally do. So for my first set, I hit 230 kilos. Felt good. Lucas told me to go up to 235. I matched my PR from Wednesday that I set, and then he was like, fuck it, let's do the green. And then we ended up PRing and hitting 240 kilos or 530 pounds for a set of 3 at a true RP 7.5. So that was a big volume PR. Like I said, the story of this prep is just big volume PR, so this is great. And now moving on to the heaviest week of prep. We are 2 weeks out. We have RP 9s all week. So on deads, I really wanted to pull 270 kilos or 5 reds again to match my conventional PR, but like I said, I was going to take what was there, and then we were just going to see from there. So I took a lot bigger jumps than I normally would. I know I'm capable of them, but I just don't normally do big jumps. So for my dead single at 9, we warmed up 1 to 4 reds, and from 4 reds, I was just feeling really good, just because at this point, I was dealing with some minor abductor tightness, just because I wasn't used to pulling all this sumo volume. But my 4 reds felt lighter than normal, so I literally just jumped from 4 reds all the way to 250 kilos or 551 pounds. Moved very well. So from that, I wanted to mimic my jumps from the year prior. So from 250, we jumped to 262.5 kilos or 579 pounds. So pulling it off the ground, I got pulled forward a little bit because I wedged too far, so it pulled me forward in my optimal pulling position, and the lockout was a little bit slower, but it was still very clean. True RP 9 right there. If Ronnie wasn't there that day, I was really tempted to do 270 kilos. But I thought about it too after I talked with him. I was like, let's not burn myself in prep like I did last year. And I was like, I need to stop like being so hooked on the numbers. So pulled 262.5 or 579 pounds for my single. And then we had a 3x2 at an RP 8 I PR'd it, or I matched my PR and hit 250 kilos for my top set, and then I hit 240 kilos for my second and third set. Another volume PR of hitting 240 kilos and over for multiple sets, so that was good. And then our RP9 SBD Saturday ended up hitting 202.5 kilos or 446 pounds on squat, so this was not a good sign for me, honestly, just because squat just hasn't been the same ever since the injury. I don't know what it is. We're just gonna have to reassess a lot of things. So this is the heaviest squat I've hit in over a year at this point. So it moved fairly well, but just the warm-up was shitty, so we had to change our warm-ups going into the meet. And then for our 3x3 on squat, I PR'd and hit 185 kilos or 408 pounds for my first set of 3, so that's a rep PR, and then I did 175 and 175 for my second and third sets. Bench, I hit 120 kilos again or 265 pounds, this time with an even longer pause, and it was a true RP9. And then for our 3x4, hit 105 kilos, 100 kilos, 100 kilos for our other 2. And then deads, we had a 3x2. I just did 240 kilos for my 2x2, and that was good. Looked like my lowest working deadlift set that whole week was 240 kilos, so that's a great sign for me. All the volume PRs ended up paying off in the end. So, and then for taper week, we just had a pretty chill day. I'll just put the footage up here. I'm not really going to discuss it just because taper week, it's everything, basically a deload going into the meet. Now, this is where we talk about the meet. So overall, the meet, what I did was USAPL West Coast Regionals in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Gold Coast Hotel, Casino, and Resort. So this is my first time traveling a good distance for a meet. So me and my dad, we left Friday morning, got there Friday afternoon, was all there Saturday, and then we competed on Sunday, and then we left Monday morning. So I'm recording this the night that I come back. So for the meet itself, we had decent expectations. Honestly, nothing crazy. The goal was just to redeem what the shit performance I had for Third Street back in February when I competed, basically injured still. So and then just we could not execute that meet because Lucas couldn't come out, so Ty and Brian Tran were handling me. The owners of Bay Area Barbell, if you guys don't know, love those guys to death. We'll do anything for them. So the top end on squat, what we were envisioning was 210 kilos or 463 pounds, which is 2.5 under my best squat of all time. For bench, the top end was 122.5 kilos or 270 pounds, my all-time bench PR. And then the top end for deadlift was 275 kilos or 606 pounds that Lucas put. I just wanted to pull my third deadlift at this point or pull 600 pounds. So going into this meet, this was the first time I've actually trained at weight or above weight, because my first meet I weighed in at 88.8 kilos. I'm a 90 kilo lifter, for those who don't know. My second meet, the Bab Sideshow meet, I weighed in at 87.5 kilos. Third Street, I ended up weighing 88.9 kilos. And then this whole prep, I actually did weigh 90 kilos, give or take a little bit above or below. But I was training right at 90, which was good because I got used to having all this different body mass on me, because like I do have a lot more muscle mass on me. It doesn't look like it, but I do have a lot more muscle mass, which is great. So going into this meet, we didn't have to cut or do anything drastic to make weight. I just had to be a little bit worried about what I was eating. So the night before, before 4 p.m., Lucas gave me the cutoff to stop eating anything. Had all you can eat sushi with my dad and my uncle and my aunt. Because there's this really good sushi, all-you-can-eat sushi spot in Vegas. Because going into Vegas, there's a shit ton of spots that I wanted to go eat at that I was going to have to wait to after the meet. Anyway, cut to the chase. We get into weigh-ins. I actually had a good night's sleep beforehand, which is weird because I normally get shit sleep before every meet that I do. But I actually got like a full 8 hours of sleep before this meet. So I woke up that morning, and I always shower before I train no matter what, just because I like being clean when I go into a lifting session or a meet. So I weighed in at 89.2 kilos as I showered, and then we went into weigh-ins. I did early equipment check on the Friday, so I didn't have to worry about getting my gear checked. So just weigh-ins, I weighed in at 89.15, and then they realized they called the wrong Dylan, so I had to weigh in again. So I went on the other scale, so I ended up actually weighing in at 89.1, a little bit lighter, which is cool. Well, yeah, warming up for squat, we took a little bit different warm-ups. So I did the bar for 8 reps, 1 red for 6 reps, 2 reds for 3 reps, and then I did a little buffer jump with 150 or 330 pounds for 1, and then 170 kilos or 3 reds for 1, and then 182.5 kilos or 403 pounds is my last warm-up, just making sure I was really syncing everything, because since this was West Coast Regionals, there was going to be higher level judges, and I didn't want to have what happened at Third Street happen again, so I was just trying to make my depth completely undeniable. For those of you who don't know, I have super long femurs, so it's hard for me to hit depth regardless, so I just have to make sure my hamstring is literally touching my calf when I hit the hole. So for my opening attempt, we decided to open up with 192.5. Originally, Lucas wanted me to open up with 195 kilos, but just with the way I ended up hitting my RP9 squat, I just knew that was not wise to do so. So we dropped down a little bit, did 192.5. It moved as an opener should. It did not feel like an opener moving it. So Ty and Brian, when we took the smaller jump and we took the conservative jump on our sheet to do 197.5 kilos for our second attempt instead of 200 or 440 pounds. So our second attempt, 197.5 kilos. It moved just the same speed as the opener, but like I said, it just didn't feel good because squat just has been feeling completely off ever since the injury. So then we took a super conservative third attempt, which is jumping up 5 kilos to 202.5 kilos or 446 pounds, which was my best squat in prep. 10 keys under my best squat of all time. But it moved as a third attempt should at an RP 9 to 10. And it moved very well. But it wasn't a true grinder where it was going to tax my back for deadlifts. So that was good. Squat overall, the whole prep, it was fine getting back to 440 pounds, 446 pounds, but being a 90 kilo lifter who could deadlift a good amount of weight, it's unacceptable that my squat is this bad. So we're going to do a lot to reassess and squat. And then yeah, after squat, just chilled in the warm-up room because since we were in a venue, we had a whole room to warm up in, so it was good just to have a lot of space, 4 racks to warm up on. And then me and my friends Felicio, Kyle, and a couple other people of Chris Ferrati, or big bodies lifters, were lifting on the rack that had the exact bar we were using on the platform. So that's just a nice little advantage that we got to do, because it may not seem like it, but those little factors do end up mattering in the end, in my opinion, just because you got to practice how you play. I was always a big advocate for that, especially playing baseball. Practice how you play and you'll perform that way on the platform. So for after squat, just was doing a little bit of recomp, getting carbs in me with candy, rice, and all that whatnot. Going pee every 3 seconds because I was overly hydrated, which was great, so we wouldn't cramp. And then for bench, our warm-ups did Lucas wanted to change my warm-ups a little bit, but then I went back to what I normally do. So for bench, we just warmed up with the bar for 6 reps, warmed up with 1 red for 5 reps, and then warmed up with a red-green 90 kilos for 2 reps. Jumped from 90 to 100 kilos for 1, 105 kilos for 1, and then our opener was 110. We didn't know how the judges were going to be with long holds or press commands, so we just opened up safe for me with 110 kilos, which is also cool because my bench opener has increased steadily over all the meets I've done, which is cool to see. Still have a terrible bench, but it's good to see some progress. So we noticed with this head judge, he was making you hold the weight a lot longer before he gave you the press command, so I was weary. I was like, was it my elbows being soft, or was he just giving us long holds at the top? So it was a long hold at the top. So my 110 kilo moved as an opener should, very fast. So we took just the standard jump from 5 kilos to 115. Had a long hold at the top again. Press command was very fair. It wasn't too fast, it wasn't too long. 115 moves as a second attempt should, so we just decided to take the safe bet and just hit 120 kilos on the platform, which I wanted to do for a long time. So we hit, it moved at a true RP 9 to 10 as well. It wasn't a true crazy grinder, but it was a good third attempt selection, and it was good because we were 6 for 6 at this point. Because the goal into this meet, with Ty and Brian handling me, was just to go 9 for 9, because I wasn't going to win my weight class and I wasn't going to qualify for anything, so I was like, let's just hit my first 9 for 9 meet. And yeah, so my nerves are at an all-time high here because we're 6 for 6 again. My best meet performance was 8 for 9 at BAB, where we ultimately failed my third deadlift of 600 pounds or 272.5 kilos. So like I said, we're recomping in the back, getting ready for deads, trying to get a bloat on so I can have a better brace, peeing every 3 seconds because I was overly hydrated, and we start to warm up for deads. So for deads, I take pretty fair jumps in the warm-up room. So I did 70 kilos for 5, 120 kilos for 4, 170 kilos for 2, 200 kilos for 1, 220 kilos for 1, and 235 kilos for 1 as my last warm-up. So before, what I would do is just go 1 to 4 and then go to our top set, but we found out with sumo we need to take a buffer jump of 200 kilos between the reds 3 and 4, and then a little buffer jump after 220 kilos to our opener. I knew it was going to be a really good day for deads, and I kind of already had a thought 600 was going to fall this meet with how well deads were moving overall and how clean my lockout has been the whole prep. So 272.5 kilos or 600 pounds has been a number that's been haunting me for over a year now, because I failed at conventional and I failed at sumo. So we took our last warm-up of 235 kilos in the warm-up room, and it felt stupid fast. Like, it felt like 2 reds. That's how fast it was, because it didn't scrape my leg at all, and it moved very fast. So we opened up with 247.5 kilos or 545 pounds. Originally was going to do 250, but with the way the jumps Brian wanted me to do, we opened up with 247.5. So I'm going to put the videos up here like usual. The 247.5 moved stupid fast. It moved just as fast as my 235 did in the warm-up room. And this was already kind of where I knew 600 was going to die. So I told Brian, I was like, don't tell me, just put my second attempt in for me. So I look at the lifting cast. He puts 260 kilos in for me, which is 12.5 kilo jump from our opener, or 573 pounds. So like I said, the nerves are going. I'm locked in. I'm going to punch anyone who gets in my way at this point in the warm-up room, and I'm behind the curtain like I'm getting ready to freaking win the WWE Championship. So we go out to 260 kilos and I blow it up like my opener. Like the opener and second attempt moved almost identical speeds. So I pulled it and I put it down. I looked at Ty and Brian. I was like, it's your guys' call. You put what you guys want me to hit. So they had a discussion. Brian said 270 to 272.5, and then Ty put the higher end and put 272.5 kilos or 600 pounds. So it was time for redemption. And so also third attempts for this meet, the DJ allowed us to pick our songs for our thirds. So on squat, I did Head of the Table by Roman Reigns. You guys know I've been using this song as my top set song all of this prep. And then for bench, I did Kingdom by Down Straight or Cody Rhodes theme, just because for bench I like a little bit different vibe. And then for deads, I did Head of the Table again, and it was amazing because Micah Marino, one of the head meet directors for this meet, had us walk down the red carpet for our third attempt deadlift, walk through the crowd down the red carpet to the platform, so it was perfect. So I was getting zoned in, ripping the ammonia, having a death stare on my face. I'll put the video up here just because I can't explain it in words. But the second the choir hits for the song, I walk out, I walk through the red, all my friends freaking go up the red carpet to film it, and you can hear Gino in the back go, Dylan's got 4 cameras filming from the same angle for another 600-pound pull attempt. And I knew 600 was going to die here because how easy the 260 kilos moved. So I was getting zoned in, the song blaring, the crowd cheering, all my friends cheering, my dad filming me too. Setup normal. I didn't want to rush the setup because I set my feet, I was flinging my arms to lengthen them, and I was like, dude, nerves, calm the fuck down, let's look up. I look my head up, pull the slack, I wedge in the bar, and I blow it up off the ground. This shit flies off the fucking ground. It was identical to what happened the year prior, except when it got to the sticking point, I just fought right through it, and it was a pretty damn fast fucking third attempt dead. Realistically, on the high end, I really do think I had the reach attempt that Lucas had planned in my sheet, which was 280 kilos. But shit, I blew up 272.5 kilos or 600 pounds finally, a number that I've been chasing for 14 months at this point, at a fucking RP 8 to 9. I'll be honest with you, because it was fucking fast and the lockout wasn't even that bad either. It was smooth. I got the down command. I looked at the freaking board, got the 3 white lights, freaking yelled at the top of my lungs, picked up Brian off the ground. No, like I literally picked him off the ground like he weighed like a feather, and then freaking hugged him and Ty in the back, freaking almost cried and shit just because it got emotional. I'll be honest with you. I'm still a little emotional thinking about it, just because watching the whole video again was just crazy to see. And then, yeah, so ended up hitting 202.5 kilos, 120 kilos, 272.5 kilos, totaling 595.5 kilos, which isn't great, honestly. Like, I should be a lot stronger for my weight class, but it's progress. It beats my best meet total, and I PR'd some lifts. So bench was a 7.5 kilo meet PR, and then the deads was a 10 kilo meet PR as well, which was a 2.5 all-time PR. But it was great. I took third in my weight class. Dots increased a little bit, but I don't really care because I shouldn't even be caring about that, because I just need to focus on getting my squat and my bench a lot higher than what they are. Deadlift's in a good spot right now. We know what we need to do. So this goes into a long off season, but this meet was great because it was great to do it with a lot of my friends from BAB and have my second family out there competing with me. So that was good to see. And just overall, thanks to everyone along this journey who saw me through the people that I met when I was first injured, and now you're surprised to see that I can actually hit some decent numbers. I appreciate y'all, and thank y'all for being my friends, or people I could call my second family. And this prep was pretty flawless overall, other than the minor hiccup with that minor glute pain, but it was just like the sideshow prep where there was like almost 0 hiccups. But the only difference this time was that I just didn't completely burn myself out on my heaviest deadlift. My heaviest deadlift all prep was 262.5 kilos, and I ended up blowing 272.5 kilos on that platform. So maybe it'll be their meet day actually is true. What are my final thoughts? I mean, shit, it was great to finally go 9 for 9. 27 for 27 in white lights, and then PRing my meet total by 7.5 kilos, and also finally hitting 600 on deadlift. We have a lot to do to work on our bench and a lot to do to work on our squat, but we're in a good spot, and I'm really glad where I'm at going into this off season. Had a fun time in Vegas. Got to eat all the good food. Got to drink all the fun drinks. Finally got to try Smoothie King too, which was a cool thing to try. And yeah, it was just really cool. Especially like the biggest takeaway was just pulling 600 pounds for the first time finally, and it was pretty damn fast. I don't know what else to say, but it was a long video. This is going to be a really long video. If I make this into one video, it might be an hour. If I turn this into 2 videos, it's going to be 2 30-minute videos. But with that, make sure you leave a like and also hit the subscribe button. Make sure you tune in to all my YouTube shorts because I post all my training every day on my YouTube shorts, just because I don't want to make long YouTube videos all the time. I'll do these periodically, not as consistently as I used to, but I will be 100% consistent with YouTube shorts like I am on my Instagram. So follow my Instagram at dylan.kitoriano. It'll be on the screen. Follow my YouTube shorts, tune in all those, and then yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.